So there's this one question that has come up a lot recently for both of us, I think, and a lot of people wonder this all the time. Can you be gay and believe in God? And for me, it's absolutely. And it doesn't have to be organized religion. That's my story, is that I grew up and I had no religion, spirituality at all, but like I had a belief in God, like just as a kid. And people would be like, you're a religious freak. Just because I was like, I believe in God. And it was really important to me. And it wasn't until I found recovery and I got sober a little over 7.5 years ago when it became an essential part and foundation of my program and who I am. And so I pray, and I don't know exactly what I'm praying to every day. Like, I don't have like a definition for God, and that's what I like. Like, I don't like having a definition, and that's kind of what faith means to me, is just having a belief in something greater than myself. And it feels good to me if I pray for someone, I pray for myself, and all of a sudden I feel better. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know why I feel better. So I was just sitting here, and this is not a planned topic, but I was just thinking about my girlfriend and her, you know, the way she's been involved in religious organizations in the past. And so I'm just going to ask her and put her on the spot, how she feels about God in her life, especially after coming out.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking and she looked at me and goes, do you still think you believe in God? And I was like, yeah, like 100%. And she was like, wait, let's record this because this is going to be juicy. But that's my reaction, is like, yeah, 100%. And it makes me sad that like that has to even be a question. Like, oh, because you're gay, do you even believe there's a God? Like, what?
Yeah.
And like how sad it is that like organized religion has like convinced people that there needs to be a choice made there, that like you need to like believe in God or like believe in yourself, in your sexuality, in your relationship with like the most important human in your life. And this is something I've wrestled with for well over a decade. And yeah, like, honestly, it just brings me to a pause because it makes me so sad. Like, the part I've played also in, like, being a face of these religious organizations that, like, would say these things about people. And because I was so caught in a shame cycle of my own sexuality and trying to convince myself to be straight and trying to pray the gay away and trying to repent of my horrible sin of homosexuality, like all these things that I was told that I just don't believe are true about God. And it's just interesting too, like in the past year, I've really been on this journey of like, okay, I know I'm done choosing everyone else's comfortability over my own truth. And that meant walking away from a lot of places that I knew I wouldn't be welcomed and loved. Places I planned my career around, places I went to school to get degrees to be a pastor at. And so people have been like, so does this mean you're walking away from God? And like, just that question makes me so sad. Like, it also just makes me so sad that people think my relationship with God is so trivial. That like the creator of the universe is small enough in his love or her love or whatever it is, that like my innate love to love a woman would like negate my relationship in that way. And I honestly feel like it comes from people watching conditional relationships that we're told are unconditional, like parents that say they unconditionally love their children, and then their kids come out as gay, and all of a sudden their parents like write them off, and it's like, well, that was very conditional. And I think the imagery of God as a father, especially in Christianity, has been translated in that way, that we now believe we like put our earthly father's ideals on God, like God the Father, like the holy God of the universe, the creator. And we're like, oh yeah, like, well, this person's earthly dad said his love was unconditional, and then they're gay, and like now they don't talk. So like I'm assuming that like God the Father is also that way. And I just like I just think he's mourning. Like I just think God like is so sad that like hatred prevails in places where they are worshiping the God of love, and people in those places hate other people because of who they love. And I've always been an advocate for this. And when I came out, I like told my sister at one point, I was like crying, and I'm like, they're like, we always knew you were an advocate for them. And I was like, and how did you never ask if I was gay? And she was like, I don't know, like you're also an advocate for like kids that grew up in Africa, and like you didn't grow up in Africa, so like how would we know? And I just want to say like in this too that like my family's been beautiful and great, and with everything there's struggles and hardship, but like they do love me, and like, and it is hard, like we are taught all these different things, but like God is so much bigger.
Yeah, and it's just coming up for me because I didn't have organized religion coming up. Then I got sober, and I got kind of loud and proud about being LGBT, and I was just like a fearless advocate. And people would say to me, like even close friends, like, we're just so afraid you're gonna go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared me. I was like, am I gonna go to hell? Like, am I bad? Because I feel like I can't control this. Like, that I love women and that I'm attracted to women. But it scared me, and it started literally making me feel like maybe God just isn't a thing. Like, I don't know if I want God in my life if God thinks I'm going to hell. So I was letting other people's belief define my belief. Like, and that really hurt my mental health, because God is such an important part of my life. To not have that belief, like, I felt miserable. I felt like I didn't have purpose. God gives me so much purpose. And then I did a lot of self-healing work, and what I came to is that God is love. Like, in my life, God is love, love is God. And that is how I look at it. And now I have a really good relationship with God, whatever that is. Him, her, they, them, I don't care. Like, I almost like don't even like seeing God as like a person, a gender. Like, I see God as like energy, and I use the word God because that's what feels good to me. I know some people don't, and I like respect that 100%, but like I think bringing God into our relationship is just so great. And it's so hard because like people automatically assume like you don't believe because you're LGBT.
Yeah, it is sad. Like, and that was something so important for both of us, was like that our partner had a strong faith. Because also like we know intuitionally like we are made for so much more than just like waking up, working a job, going to bed and dying. And like that comes from somewhere bigger than us, and like both of us are so convinced of that. So being with a partner that doesn't have this like draw to like something bigger, like it just wouldn't work. And this belief, like when things get hard, like faith that like they will get better, and like everything is happening for us and not against us, and like there is a higher power on our side that created us on purpose, with a purpose, for a purpose. And like it just makes me really sad that people question like, oh, well, were you just like lying while you were like preaching all those years? And it's like, no, like I never preached anything but this, that like God is love and love is God also. And if I did, that is something I repent of. And like people want to say that, oh, well, you can't have love without truth, and you can't have truth without love. And the truth is that homosexuality is a sin. And the truth is that you treating me less than you want to be treated is a sin against the greatest commandments of the Christian Bible. And so if you want to come at me in any way that you would not want to be treated in love, I want you to read your 10 commandments first. Homosexuality isn't in there. It's not. And that Yeah, I just think we get so caught up in, I'm like not going to go into the whole theology of when the Bible's changed and when homosexuality was added. That can be 15 other videos we'll release someday. But because honestly, it still just hurts. Like, I'm still just angry that, like, I had to separate my life to be true to myself. That's bullshit. Like, that is ridiculous. People that say that they worship a God of love every single day and they devote their lives to it should be the most welcoming, open, and inclusive people. And I have been brainwashed, and I have been through seasons where, although I tried, I did not do good at showing up in that way. And that also makes me really sad that there was ever anyone that ever thought that I loved them less because of the belief systems I ascribed to. And if you're watching this, I'm sorry. And if I ever treated you less than I want to be treated, I'm sorry. Because it's real and it's scary. And I definitely like remember going out and being like, oh, well, you need Jesus, you need to repent. Like, because I genuinely believed that like Jesus was the only way to heaven and then that was afterlife. And I'm not saying I don't believe that anymore, but I'm definitely in a really healthy place of like, I almost died from COVID back in 2020. And there was this night where I was in the back of the ambulance. It was still really early. And I couldn't breathe from COVID. And then they gave me Albuterol. And then I had a panic attack and allergic reaction to it. So it made me like literally like not able to breathe that much more. And I remember like going out of it for a minute. And I really thought that I was like having a near death. Like I was dying. And I woke up from that, and the first thought that I had was, if Christianity was right, I'll get to the gates of heaven and God will say, well done, good and faithful servant. But what if we're wrong? Will I have still loved radically and lived deeply and adventured immensely and got all that this body, soul, mind were put here in this time, space continuum for? And like, not even like, is like a belief in God wrong? But like, holy shit, Western white Christianity has got a lot wrong. And we all do. I'm not saying I have it all right. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I know it all. I'm just saying I know that I never want to be so sure of myself that I treat someone else less than. And this is me not, I'm not saying like, oh, if you're a white Christian, like I'm better than you or I'm angry at you. Like, I'm not. Like, we're all on a journey together. And I do believe that like it is with greatest intent that like people say things like this. But it's not. Like, it's not loving. It's not received. And like, God doesn't fear us into heaven or hell, so like, why do we think we should try to do that to people?
Would you say that you still define yourself as a Christian, or is that something you're still in the discovery phase of like where you're at with religion?
I would say like I don't know, because like Christian is connotated with so many things that I don't want to stand for or be known as. But like, do I still believe that there is like truth to be had in Christian truths? Yes. Do I still believe that there is a beautiful intent behind Christianity? Yes. Would I say it's what I go by in my life now? I don't know.
I think just to sum this up, like, I know that for both of us, we want God to be part of our lives, especially like part of our relationship. So it's a process. You're seeing us in real time processing things. And that's what you're going to see in all of our videos is where are we at now? And, you know, in a year from now, we're going to make another video and we're probably going to be in a completely different space.
Yeah.
But, I hope you appreciate our authenticity and vulnerability.
Yeah, this isn't a like, look at us, we've got it all figured out podcast. I literally just was quoting Keisha, Get Mary, Empower Her podcast. It's amazing. Like, go listen to it. But I love her tagline. She says, this isn't a look at me, I have it all figured out type of deal. This is a let me pull the curtain back and say, hi, I'm real. This is where I'm at. And this is my journey. And so as we figure out, and as we Google how to make things work in our RV, we're going to tell you. As we figure out like a new thing in our faith or in our relationship, like we're going to tell you, because I know I spent years crying myself to sleep, scrolling social medias of people brave enough to be themselves and sharing their journey and reminding me that like, no, I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. And like being true to yourself is worth it. And like this love is so worth it. And if we can just help one person, and like, I love Glennon Doyle's quote, like, gayness is not contagious. So like, don't worry if you watch this and you're not gay, like you're not going to become gay, because that's what was true for us. But like, maybe you're playing small in some other way. Like maybe you're people pleasing in some other way instead of pleasing who you are made to be. And I pray that that is what this inspires in you.